Hello, listener. Stir the Pot is a podcast about murder, crime, cryptids, and all things spooky. Naturally, there may be some content in these episodes that is uncomfortable to listen to. If you still think that this is the podcast for you, we'd love to have you join us. But if not, this is your official warning to turn back now.
Okay, so, hey!
Hello.
How's it going?
We're making a podcast.
It's been a while.
I know, I'm so happy to be back and now be a full-time co-host.
Yeah, I have a new co-host full-time. This is Miss Shaggy.
Yeah.
Mix Shaggy?
I don't know.
Shaggy.
Zoinks.
Zoinks.
We can figure out pronouns later.
I'm gonna pee myself and we haven't even started. Welcome to Stir the Pot. I'm Velma, so I'm still here. I'm still rolling. But yeah, there's a lot that's happened since June. I always planned on coming back. The problem was life just kind of got ahead of us. But we're back, and we're gonna try and get back to doing this every other week. So hopefully, we'll back on schedule with Stir the Pot.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a fun song while you were doing that to, do some little jazz hands to or something. I've got nothing.
I know, right? No, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
No.
I did pay somebody for our intro. So, I have, it's a full, 2.5 minute song. But it's the intro and the outro. I only used part of it. But yeah. I sent him a couple things and... It cost me quite a bit, but sent him a couple things, and it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, but I'm so glad to have a co-host. I tried to do it by myself, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I know. And now that I have somebody to banter with, now Shaggy doesn't necessarily smoke as much as Velma. However, you're always down for a good time, though.
Always up for a good time.
Yeah.
Always down for some true crime. Trying to write a little poem. That was just off the cuff,
I was smoking Cherry Buff.
Hey!
That's a strain of weed. I gotta get it together. Yeah, I can't really do that much.
Not just like a slant rhyme. Look at that. The whole episode is just a big rhyme. I think we can pull it off.
I can't rhyme anything with off. I might have to cough. Ah! There we go. I'm talking about murder, though.
So back to the episode.
So anyways, some noteworthy news bulletins. We each picked one big topic that we each want to talk about. Mine was Luigi. I think that's all I have to say.
Your little sound machine doesn't have like a whistle, like a little hot stuff whistle kind of thing. Hey, it does!
I know I'm old. I know I shouldn't have these feelings. But hashtag free Luigi, man.
Has anything happened with that at all? Because I feel like I've just heard so much other news.
Well, yeah, because the news is nuts.
The news is
and
insane.
this is what I picked to talk about. I had a second one, but I don't know if I should talk about it, but we'll see how high I get. But this one, I think the most recent one was on Valentine's Day. He came out with a statement saying he does read all of the letters. He's overwhelmed with but that's the most recent thing that I've heard.
That's really sweet, though.
Yeah.
Especially on Valentine's Day.
I know.
Give the girlie some hope.
Mm-hmm. I have no hope. It's fine. It's all right. Nope.
They should do a dating show, like Love is Blind, but with Luigi. The Bachelor.
Oh, man. I have no insurance. Oh, swoon.
What is it? Deny, defend, oppose.
Defy,
I don't know.
Defy, defend, oppose.
So many different. There's a lot of words with D.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it so much. But yeah, the Luigi. there's really no other words for Luigi than Luigi.
Yeah.
I just,
Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi.
Yeah.
Just, anyways, what did you want to talk about?
Jack the Ripper.
Who?
Has been caught.
What's his name?
I don't know his name, actually. I looked at a bunch of articles, but I've been on this DNA spiral, which I'm going to talk about next week.
Yay.
And so I didn't let myself get too deep into it, because then I would have come up with 47 other things I want to talk about, and I already have so many.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get my focus together, but they found his, through a distant relative.
I knew that there was DNA on the scarf, but I always thought that there wasn't enough.
Well, there was a whole thing where, this guy bought it and they went through, so many processes to get it, certified that it's really the right DNA, and that it hasn't been tampered with or, changed or, it's still valid after all of these years, because that's how many years now.
Yeah.
But it was, a distant relative that they traced it back to, and now he's caught, and it was, one of the main suspects originally, so.
It
took how many years for the cops to solve a case?
I know, but you want to know what this last year? There was the Somerton, I don't believe this one, but the Somerton man, that guy was supposedly figured out his identity. Yeah. There was this one, there was the Lady of the Dunes, which we have not covered yet, but that one was also solved.
I feel like they've been really hitting on some cold cases lately.
I feel like there was some new news about John Bonet recently.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. This is a piece of news that I want to talk about. Supposedly, there was another instance of a girl that had a very similar issue, if you will, to happen. That was 14 years old, went to the same dance studio that was down the street that nobody's ever talked about. And I've watched every damn documentary on John Bonet, and I've never heard this.
No.
What?
Yeah, you would think that they would have said that.
I was 100%.
Instead of just being it's the family.
Up until that piece of information, I was 100% on Burke bandwagon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That would be a band name if I ever heard it. That would be some banjo-ass motherfucking shit. The Burke bandwagon.
Burke and the bandwagons.
I would not listen to you. Please don't make this band. But
some indie band is just one tier.
Right. Oh no. On one of my previous episodes, I talk about, how I can't stand Natalie Portman for no reason. And the one celebrity that's going to listen to this podcast is going to be Natalie Portman. And I'm going to be like, listen, it's nothing to do with you. You just have a punchable face. And I don't know why. Every time I see her in a movie, I don't go see it. And it's not that you're a bad actress. Yeah. I think you're a great actress. Every time I've actually seen you and the movie it was all right. I just want to hit you. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're great. I'm sure that you're wonderful. But anyways, what was I talking about? Jack the Ripper, and
Jack the Ripper. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really all I got.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look too far into it, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I think I saw somewhere too that this has been known since 2018, kind of, but they're just now finally processing it or something.
What are they trying to cover up?
I don't know. I feel like it didn't, it wasn't super loud, though, so if they were trying to cover something up now, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It didn't really do anything.
Because I feel like we were talking about it, and we both kind of brought it up at the same time, and I thought it was an article that I was just looking over, and it was some bullshit.
Yeah.
Because every couple of years, they're like, oh, we figured out who,
Right.
And they just find, one more clue. But
yeah.
There was, I remember there was a TV show on History. This is when I still had cable and was watching things live.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this descendant of H.H. Holmes that believed that H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper.
Mm.
And as everyone knows that's listening to this podcast, my first episode was H.H. Holmes. That's one I'm from the Chicagoland area. That's one that's near and dear to me. And I thought that was a very interesting take.
Yeah.
Because, that doesn't make... It could have happened. It, lined up perfectly, but it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I always just kind of loved that one, and now that Jack the Ripper's been identified.
But has he really?
I don't know.
Can we trust anything?
I know, that's why, with the Somerton man, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
If you look at the face of the guy that... they have a picture of the Somerton man's dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you look at the face of the guy that they identified, they don't even look alike. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look this up now, because I haven't seen that picture.
Yeah. It's not, yeah. I think that DNA's come a long way, and that's why I don't trust, like, those 23andMe things.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this next week.
I can't wait for you to do it, but, like, that scares me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Anyways.
Yeah.
On to the...
Would you rather?
Would you rather? So
Okay.
what's the would you rather today?
So the one today is, would you rather craft all of your furniture using grotesque forms of taxidermied animals, or create your own bizarre beast with taxidermy to fill your home? See, I was very torn on this because I
don't know if I understand the question.
So, like, have your furniture out of, like,
Taxidermy
a dead bear.
pelt. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's a dead bear is your couch. Or do, like, Frankenstein, like, squirrel head bear body to, like, decorate your home.
I feel like this is, even though I don't like either answer, and I would never do either, I feel like it's a very clear answer for me.
See, I'm really torn on it, but, like, if it wasn't, okay. I'm gonna sound like a serial killer because
I wish you guys could see Shaggy's hand motions right now. It's just okay.
Yeah, you can't see the hand motions either. So I hope that they understand that. I've always wanted one of the, you know, those like lamps that look like they're made out of human faces.
Yeah.
I've always wanted one of those.
I know, but a face is different than a bear.
Right. So if it was human faces, which is weirder. But if that's what my furniture was made out of, I think, like, one piece would be fun. But, like, not real human skin, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really disgusting.
Yeah.
But, like, fake.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think it would be really fun, and I kind of want to learn taxidermy. But I see, like, those little squirrels that are, like, flipping people off that people make, and, like, I think one of those with, like, a raccoon tail would be so silly.
Did you ever see the movie Dinner for Schmucks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's just what you reminded me of. I absolutely would get the Franken squirrel.
Yeah.
There's no question. Because, like, a jackalope is one of my favorite
You know,
cryptids.
I honestly didn't realize that those weren't real until, like, very recently.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I was so convinced that they were real.
Oh, that's amazing. That makes me very happy. Because, like, that's probably one of my favorite cryptids. And, like, I thought that they were real.
Yeah.
But, like, that's one of the cryptids that's, like, been proven that, like, that was just made by, like, a person.
I think they're real. Why are they hiding this?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And if you go to Waldrug, they have a jackalope that's, like, the size of, like, a house that you could, like, climb up on. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I know. I like jackalopes. But I would do the Franken squirrel.
Yeah, like a little polar bear with, like, a little deer head or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And giraffe legs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be cute.
Yeah. These can be fun.
Yeah. I would much rather do that. I mean, granted, I'd rather not do either.
Yeah. All of your furniture out of animals.
I don't want any dead animals in my house.
Correct.
So... Which I know people are going to come for me because, like, meat. But, like, I don't want eyeballs looking at me, okay? Like, that's not okay with me.
Yeah. Plus, it did say grotesque for your furniture.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Bloody guys?
Yeah.
That's no.
I'll take the Franken squirrel.
Franken squirrel!
Franken squirrel! Alright, and then before I get to the episode, I'm going to do the Reefer Report. Today I am smoking Otherside, is the brand name. The strain is called Donny Burger, and it is an indica. I got this at Philly Dispensary, and see us at the end of the episode for the Reefer Review.
That was fun.
Thank you. I stole it from somebody. I can't take credit for it. And one day, that's going to be what we get sued over. It's on...
Wait, don't confess to your crime on the air.
Yeah, right. Oh, I was like, I shouldn't do this. But yes, I stole it from somebody. So let me get to my episode today. So today, I wrote this episode a while ago. Like, a while ago, as in, like, I still typed it.
That's so nice.
And so there's a lot of stuff that may be back and forth with page flipping and shit like that. So bear with me, because I've got notes, and I gotta get everything organized.
So what's the, like, overview of what we're chatting on?
So Bernie was a movie with Jack Black, Matthew McConaughey, and who was the woman?
Shirley MacLaine?
Shirley MacLaine. Is that it?
I don't know. That's the name that popped
The old lady?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, then it's Shirley MacLaine.
Okay.
Sorry, not me to be rude. I'm not saying that she's old. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just making sure it's the right lady. But Shirley MacLaine. But basically, it's about this mortician gentleman in a small town of Texas that gets himself in a little bit of trouble. A lot of bit of trouble. So, we're going to start with the very beginning. He was born on August 2nd of 1858 to Bernard and Layla Mae Jester.
Wait, what year did you say?
1958.
Okay.
The year of the dog.
Gotcha.
Why I wrote that down, I fucking don't know. The year of the dog, and he was a Leo.
He had that dog in him.
Yeah. Nope. Why is that and here's the next question. That's the second time I've barked today. Do I bark on a regular basis? No. This is not something I normally do, but that's the second time I've barked today, so... Anyways.
Back to the story. Back
to Bernard Sr. and Layla Mae. I will refer to the dad as Bernard and the son as Bernie. So if I'm talking about them, that's how I'm referring to them. When Bernie was about 2, his parents were in a car accident. Bernard was driving, and Layla did not survive.
That's really sad.
Yes. Some of this is very sad. That's why we have our trigger warning. See?
Yeah.
Haha. This is the first time we've done it. I've thought, literally since the beginning of doing this, I've thought about doing a trigger warning. Okay, I gotta focus. Okay. So after that, the dad, Bernard, started drinking very heavily. He was also, the whole family was church-going people. And so church was important to Bernie, to Layla, to Bernard. He spent a lot of time with the choir and the colleagues from the church. Bernard did marry again in 1963 to a woman named Clara Catherine. However, he died when Bernie was about 15. So both of his parents were dead by the time he was 15. Mm. When that happened, Bernie went to an after-school job at a local funeral home to help his family and his little sister make money because there was no other...
So then it was his stepmom that was... Okay.
And a little sister.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So he started doing yard work, and then he started assisting with the actual funerals. He was also very well-liked. He was very friendly and always had a smile. Regularly, he would break into the funeral homes to take the hearse for a joyride with his little sister and her friends. And I thought that was really cute.
That's really cute.
Now, if you go back and watch this movie, Bernie, with Jack Black and all these, as much as I did enjoy the movie, I did think the movie was funny, I'm really shocked that he did this because there was a lot of slurs that were thrown around towards Bernie, which I will get into here shortly.
Okay.
But Bernie was a very smart guy. He was kind of like a Swiss Army helper at doing everything. So he could help you sew, he could do your yard work, he could do taxes.
And I need someone to do my taxes.
Me too. Me too. And he loved just giving gifts. So he always spent what little money he had on gifts for people. And he also loved the finer things in life.
That's so cute.
Same. So when he graduated with his degree with mortuary science, he ended up working at a funeral home in Carthage, Texas in 1985. He became the assistant funeral director at Hawthorne Funeral Home and had a small apartment behind it. I take notes like this, and that's literally how I read them. And so I try to write it as I talk. Mm-hmm. Isn't that funny? Everybody does it different,
yeah,
you know.
Whatever works.
But that way I know I have everything right here.
Yeah.
You know. But this is still going over, his backstory and how we got to where he is. So at the time, he was making about $18,000 a year, which would be about $52,000 today. And that's as an assistant funeral director.
Okay.
Is that still enough to survive on? Probably not. Absolutely not. No. He was probably the most qualified young man I've ever seen, Lipsy says, which is one of the families that he waited on.
Okay.
He waited well in families, and he would sing solos behind the screen during the funeral. He was so darn good as an embalmer. He had a talent of making the hair of the deceased look real natural.
I'm sorry, but that's just real funny. I don't know if it's the way that you read it or the way that it's written, But, like, that guy looks like a good embalmer.
That's literally
Like,
what he said.
do a little eyebrow raise.
He was a darned good embalmer.
I mean, it's a very good compliment for that very specific thing.
But they're dead. Like, I mean, they don't care. Their hair looked real nice.
Got those eyebrows just right.
You have eyebrows that are just like... People can't see what I'm doing, but
little, like, almost kind of clown triangle makeup above the eye. Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
Maybe that was maybe the end thing in Texas at the time. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
live in the 85s. I lived in the 89s, but I didn't live in the 85s because there's more than one. I gotta get my shit together. Okay. So this whole area of Carthage was an old oil area, so in turn had a lot of old money with a lot of old people living there. And
So his business was booming.
yeah, so he was booming, and it was all the men dying, and so it was a lot of widows in that area because men don't live as long as women. I wonder why that is. Anyways, but there was a lot of widows in this area. Because Bernie was also super active in the community and in his church, he also even taught Sunday school and did little league teams. Like, he was like way involved.
He had a lot going on.
Like, I can't imagine. I have a full-time job. Organizing one night to record a podcast is enough for me.
Yeah.
Like, and he's got a little league team. He's got everything. And if the minister was sick, he would fill in. So he was like the backup minister for the church.
He was just like one man running town.
Yeah, man. I mean, he helped out with the theater as well. Especially during the Christmas time and the Christmas committee.
This all sounds perfect.
This sounds like Hallmark movie,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So this is an actual guy. This is like a movie and an actual guy.
Okay.
Jack Black is much cooler than the actual guy.
Okay.
10 out of 10. His sister once said, I really think that because of his loneliness that he went through in his childhood, Bernie made it his calling to serve people and meet their needs.
What's the age difference between him and his sister?
I think
know?
it was 5 years?
Okay.
5 or 6 years? Yeah.
Okay.
When a lot of the women would become widows, he would become pals with them and console them after the funerals and would even stop by to check on them, go shopping, do their grocery shopping, all that jazz. He was not like partial to rich widows. His first older widow that he met was not rich, but she had achy bones and was often in pain, and he would take her to Arkansas to just sit in hot springs with her.
Oh.
So like it wasn't that he was like
He wasn't
only
seeking
going
out people with
right.
money.
He really just cared about people indirectly in a weird way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can care about people too much.
Correct.
And this is a good example. Bernie was never married, and it doesn't seem like any of these relationships he had were anything besides platonic. Like, it was just like friendship. But when I was talking about the slurs earlier, this is where that comes into play. There were rumors about his sexuality, because he ended up being a little bit flamboyant, but because of how well he was liked in the town, and because he never acted on it, it was never really talked about, and it was just kind of ignored.
I don't like that.
No.
I mean, I know Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Time.
Texas,
It makes
Carthage,
sense.
85, small town, old money.
Religious.
Like, all of it makes sense,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
That's really sad.
it's very sad.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, granted, this movie was made a long time ago, and things change, and I respect that things change. I feel like that's not something like I can picture Jack Black doing nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, he stands for his shit. But I also watched that stupid movie, Dear Satan.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
No, that was a really
I didn't like that
fucked
at
up
all.
ending.
That was rough.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jack Black. You're like one of my number one celebrity crushes. I don't mean to be talking shit. But still marry me. But
Yeah.
like that was some fucked up shit.
That was.
The whole movie was funny.
It was okay. It had its moments. I don't know if I would watch it again.
If I'm gonna be honest, the way I worded it to my dad, and he agreed with me. This makes me feel like an asshole. Everybody except for Jack Black in that movie looked like they were hired for a porno. Like, that's the level of acting that they did. It wasn't very good. Like, the mom and the dad fighting, I was just like, okay. But then there's Jack Black, like, being a fucking star with, like, a 10 out of 10 outfit in every scene.
All of their money went to his outfits and Post Malone.
Yeah, and Posty, yeah. And I love Post Malone.
Post Malone.
I know. What a weird movie, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and the 3 minutes that Ben Stiller's in it.
Yeah.
Because that blew my fucking mind. I was like, I'm not high enough for this. But anyways, okay. Sorry, Jack Black, I love you. Please marry me. Okay, so anyways, now we're going to talk about Marge and Rod Nugent. Okay, so this is going to be a couple, kind of give you a little bit of their backstory.
Okay.
So Marge was a little bit older. She was born in 1915, and her father ran a grocery store in Carthage. She went to Louisiana Tech, where she met Rod, and he graduated with a degree in electrical engineering. So
I have no idea what that means.
Anytime
it's engineering, I'm just like, cool. I know they say that makes money.
I know.
Go for it.
And like engineers, whoa. We're just gonna ignore that. They look down on other ones. Like if you're like an I don't know the order. Yeah. Somebody's gonna yell at me.
I know the hierarchy.
I don't know the hierarchy. Please don't get mad at me.
Too high to know the hierarchy.
It's the low-archy to me.
Is this why we're lower class?
Yes. Oh shit. One day we'll know the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Today's not that day.
No.
So anyways. So for some reason I literally just read my next line and what we just talked about. Like, okay, so he graduated with an electrical engineering degree, okay? So he took a job at Mobil Oil. Oil's not electrical, right? Like,
no.
Okay, just making sure. You know, whatever. But they ended up moving back to Carthage, and they had one son named Rod Jr., and he would grow up to be a pathologist in Amarillo. This is all some real Southern shit. In 1989, so this is 4 years after Bernie started working at the funeral home, Rod Sr. decided to take Marge back to her hometown and settle down, which is directly outside of Carthage and like her right next to her old home. They lived kind of by there, but not as close. When they went back, he ended up getting a lot of money from the bank and built them a 6,000 square foot home outside of town, with which it also had a stone wall all the way around it and an electric fence.
An engineering degree. It comes
there
back. There we go. That's what he really got it for.
And this was in the 80s. So, like, that's impressive.
I know you said electric fence.
Wiggy.
I'm just imagining like a little moat with a bunch of electric eels in it.
I love this. Hark! Who goes there? I'm Bernie, delivering your groceries, madam. Okay, holy shit. Okay, so Marge also had two sisters that lived in the same town. Or one lived in the same town, the other lived in Ohio. After they moved in, Marge did not leave the estate at all. But she was also always the talk of town gossip. She apparently was a bitch.
Very scientific. Did she not leave the house because she was, like, sick, or was she just like, I don't want to go outside?
I think she was just an asshole.
Okay.
Like, she was just regularly an asshole.
Keep it inside.
Yeah. Apparently, her sister that lived in Carthage as well, they had not spoken in years after a disagreement after their mother's funeral. Mm-hmm. She never spoke to her son. Mm. She never participated in anything in the community, the town, whatever. She never donated or contributed at all. The people that were close to her said that she was critical, closed-minded, especially if you disappointed her. If she liked you, really liked you, you had to cater to her every need in order to stay in her good graces. Mm. Okay, all of this is just put a pin in it. A very close relative, anonymous, stated that she went through blue periods, almost like depression, which made her really hard to love.
Oh.
In 1990, okay, let me go back a second. So now we're going to go into how Bernie and Marge became besties. So, in 1990, Rod died suddenly of a heart attack. Boop, dead.
Ah.
Yeah, at least he had that. Wait, where's it at? I forgot what button it is.
This one?
Poor Rod. Sorry, buddy. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Quick sign of the cross.
Both of us are like, okay, I don't know what we're doing. That's the best button ever. I wish my other one fucking worked. I need to get a battery for it. Only a handful of people came to the funeral. And during the funeral, because Bernie was doing the best that he absolutely could do, he sang a hymn at the funeral and helped her walk to her car from the cemetery and gave his jacket to her when it started to rain.
Aww.
Okay, Bernie. Okay. He would later say that he could see the loneliness etched into her stern face while she stood by the casket. Like, here's the problem with all of this. I don't see Bernie in the story that I wrote or the story of the movie or the actual guy. Like, I don't necessarily see him as a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But things get weird.
Okay.
So, like...
I'm waiting.
We're getting there. So after the funeral, no one really checked up on Marge besides Bernie. Several people stated that she didn't have anyone in town besides him. He started coming over for lunch every day and then also leaving her notes of encouragement around her place.
Aww.
He also started taking her to the theater so that way she can get out of the house.
Okay.
Relax. Whatever. Yeah. As opposed to always being in the house when her husband died.
Right.
Rip Rod.
Do another quick sign of the cross.
That just reminds me of the kid. Red Ron. So Bernie was a great conversationalist. And everyone that met him said the same thing and made Marge feel youthful, is what people said.
So it was very, like, opposites attract.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though Marge was still a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Marge also did not want to lose the only friend she had. So not long after the funeral, Marge bought Bernie a $12,000 Rolex watch, which was very odd for the salty-ass bitch in town. That's literally what I wrote on here. I love my notes. These are from, like, months ago, so, like, I'm impressed.
Fun. You're discovering it, too.
Yeah. Past me's funny. Yeah. Now me's just fucked. Okay. And about a year after they started, like, hanging out, in 1981, about a year after they started becoming friends, she ordered officials at the bank to allow checks to be cashed by Bernie.
Okay.
She also made him help with the bills, so all the bill companies could cash anything by Bernie.
Gotcha.
That's not great. Don't do that.
No. Don't do that.
Yeah. Unless it's like your spouse or something. You know what? Even then, keep your own bank account. You know what?
Especially now.
Yeah. Life's weird.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a joint.
Back then,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it more then.
Yeah, but still, you don't know him.
Yeah.
You don't know him.
Especially, yeah. You don't know this guy.
You don't know him. He don't know you. You don't know him.
No.
But anyways. Look at my next line. Once, even one of the brokers asked if she was able to trust him. See, I'm funny. And she got mad. So, she was stubborn. She was a bitch. Bernie started spending all of his days off with her. He even started making his other widow friends kind of jealous.
Mm. So, like, in my head, the whole community is just kind of like, where'd he go when he's just hanging out in her house?
Yeah. Because she doesn't leave. And he would take her to, like, the shows and every once in a while, but, like, really just hanging out there.
Yeah. Maybe it should have been more of a once-a-week thing instead of just a life
every day.
commitment.
Yeah. Like, how big is Carthage? And also, you've got a full-time job.
Right.
And also a Little League.
Yeah.
Bro, get it together. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do at church? Like, come on. Jesus needs you. Rip Rod. I gotta get it together. Okay, alright. So, several times he actually spent the night with her, and one day she decided to go on a cruise with him. She paid all of Bernie's way to go
Honestly,
on this cruise.
though, like, sugar mama, sugar daddy, where are they at now?
Yeah, right? You know what? I respect, once again, I ain't condemning this. I'm just relaying the story.
Yeah.
I feel that if you have the means, like she did for so long, and for her not to help anybody, and then she helps this guy that this guy's helped a lot of other people, I don't see a problem in that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that he may overstay as well, come a little bit, but like,
sure.
I also wasn't there.
Right.
You know, but there were rumors going around that someone was trying to seduce someone, that one or the other, there was some type of sexy time trying to say, but
I feel like when they have a weird, when you have a relationship like that, there's always going to be some talk.
Right, and like, it's, people can have platonic relationships.
They can.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Like that, and they could be very close. They can also not have platonic relationships and be the same gender. So that's what the fuck is that? Why is this happening? What is this?
I have no idea.
I don't know what to do.
Is it like a beetle?
I don't know. Probably.
I don't
Stink
know.
bug, maybe?
Oh,
what do I do with
it's
it?
a stink bug.
What do I do with it?
Interview him? I don't know.
Should I do something about it?
He's okay.
Okay. Please don't stink on us. Please stink.
I think if you like crush them, that's when they stink.
Please don't stink on us.
I stared into that light much too long.
Yeah, don't do that. Oh, let me throw the rose beer. Go get it. Go get it.
Is it two stinky things becoming friends?
Yeah, like bugs like flowers. Right? Is that?
I mean, it did open when you threw it.
Did it?
So
see, go get him. Go get him. Should I turn off the light?
He'll make his way over there.
Okay, we're fine. Where's Bernie? So Bernie's on that fucking cruise.
Yeah, Bernie's
right.
on the cruise.
With anyways, okay, fucking stink bugs, stay the fuck out of here. But nobody's seducing anybody.
That was really scary. I didn't know what he was.
Me neither. I thought it was a hornet, and I'm like, wait, it's winter. Yeah, there's no way that there's a
like
hornet.
a very bee hornet body.
I know, but then
with
I was
like the wings of a moth.
Yeah. Wings. Sorry. Watch him. Make sure he doesn't go anywhere.
Just like grab him.
You fucking grab him. What are you gonna do with him now?
I don't know.
The garbage over.
I got this far.
Is he alive?
No, I got him.
Okay, then we can. There's a garbage right over here. You're my hero. You can go around this way. You're a hero. Did you ever know that you're my... Do you need more water?
No, I'm okay.
Damn, okay. What the fuck? Okay, stink bug gone.
Crisis averted.
Where's the clapping? No! This is gonna be the craziest first episode, Jack. This makes me really happy. Okay, where was I?
There we go.
That's what I'm at.
Yeah.
Crisis averted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited to listen back to
This is gonna be fantastic. They spent the night. Rumors that they were smooching. No. Bernie would often hold Marge's hand, but that's also like, that's not a thing. Like, some people just hold hands. That's just a thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not worried about that. I think Margie. I don't like that. Oh, it was a close relative. I think Margie truly enjoyed the companionship of Bernie, and I think Bernie truly enjoyed Margie's money, said a companion. So,
See, I mean, they're using each other to some extent.
Yeah.
Both of them. But, like, they might just be friends.
Right.
And if she's going to pay for everything and she has the means to.
Right. If I was a billionaire, I'd be paying for everybody.
Right.
Like, but
Yeah.
like, you know.
I get it. It's weird.
Yeah. But Marge had an income of about $200,000 to $300,000 a year from royalties alone, which is over $500,000 now. And
he made like $58,000 now. So.
Yeah. Like, look at the difference. Yeah. And he had a small apartment behind the funeral home.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, at this point, they're probably living together. I mean,
yeah.
Who's to say? But she started becoming possessive over Bernie and getting sassy when he wasn't available when she wanted him to be available. as extreme as having him come over to make her coffee in the morning. Just, like, basic shit.
Yeah, which I feel like is a thing that when people spend money on you, they're like, I deserve your time, kind of thing, so...
I know quite a few people like that.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yes.
Because that's not okay.
Right.
Like, if you're doing something...
Lines, boundaries.
Yeah. And that's why, like, a lot of people... They always said, like, there are other things you don't talk about with people you care about. Like, money's my big one. Like, I don't want to talk to you about it unless, like, if you're asking me, like... But you don't... Anyways, I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. But he also had $4,000 in back taxes. And he liked to spend money. So at some point, Marge changed all of her wills so Bernie was going to get everything. As well as the POA of her multi-million-dollar estate. She also told her cousin that she didn't want to leave a cent to her son or her immediate family because they didn't appreciate her.
I mean, she didn't talk to her son. It's not going to be a surprise.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you think, I just imagine, like, one of those murder mystery movies where everybody's sitting there waiting for the will to be read, but, like, all, because it's the 80s, all with, like, big 80s hair and, like, the big earrings. Lipsy, the guy I was talking about before that worked with him, that knew him, said he was worried a little bit about Bernie. He said, Bernie, you know that what kind of woman that Mrs. Nugent is. Whatever you think you're going to get out of her, you're going to have to earn every damn penny of it. And he warned her. But, of course, nobody listens.
Yeah. They got to learn for themselves. That's how it goes.
But Bernie always assured everybody that she was a very kind woman. So, in 1993, Bernie told the owner of the funeral home that he was offered to work as Marge as her business manager and escort her on trips to travel. So that's when the business director said, hey...
Better watch it.
Yeah, better watch it. You're going to have to earn every penny. See, sorry, I missed the line. That's what happens when you're high. But he wasn't going to say no to this because Marge, of course, didn't want to be crossed and was not that kind of person. And with an advance pay for his new job, he purchased a 2-bedroom house about a mile away from hers. He always decorated penguins and always had them very well dressed.
Oh.
When he made his house his own, displaying all the things he loved, he would have Christmas parties and invite everybody in town. His spending didn't stop there. He went on to get his pilot's license, and he also bought a few small planes for his personal use.
So he's really just living his best life.
YOLO, yeah. You know what? You do you, boo-boo. But after he took over Marge's seat at the bank that she banked at, he would call and make decisions about her stocks and pretty much lived as her. As they traveled, they went to Egypt, Asia, Russia. They visited Europe by ship, sailing back and forth on big, luxurious ships. Even though it was amazing, he also worked very hard for her. Yeah.
It wasn't just him really living his best life. Right. He did a lot.
Yeah. He had a good time. Don't get me wrong. Live hard, play hard. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. But her meds had to be laid out every morning and every night. She had to be home for lunch by 11:45 sharp. If he was late, she would get very angry, almost panicked that he was somewhere else. If he went out with any of his friends, or some of the other widows, he would have to call Marge almost every hour to prevent him from getting shit from her later.
Very toxic.
Very. Well, and, like, he talks a little bit about this later, but it kind of got worse as it progressed, and you don't know if it was just, like, a toxic relationship or if she was also older, you know? So, but he started taking money out of her bank accounts that he was added to without her knowledge. He sort of became the charity of Bernie. So anytime somebody needed help, they went to Bernie. He helped at least 10 people with vehicle purchases, buying a home for somebody, a scholarship. He opened up one for kids.
So he's doing like a little Robin Hood.
Little Luigi action up in here, right?
Yeah.
Right? Prevent local shops from closing, all like the little shit.
Yeah.
He would also do giveaways and tickets for like theater productions at the college to support like the funding for the choir.
I like that he's still so community minded.
Right.
He bought himself some planes. But he's helping people and giving back.
Right. Like, overall, he's not... Yeah. This is not his money, but, like, she's not missing it. Right. You know, she's old. She's not doing anything with that. He helped a man open a clothing store in town called Boot, Scoot, and Western Wear. I thought that was really cute. Some of them he was helping and said that they would pay back when they could. But Also, most of it was just a gift, and he was never concerned with it. A lot of the townspeople said he was helping Marge, even getting her to join church and have some of the women over for brunch. In 1995, Bernie told his sister that he believed Marge was developing some type of dementia, as I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Marge fired the gardener, which rumor was Bernie had a little fling with the gardener. That was a huge thing. But nobody knows. Doesn't matter. But the flowers were not blooming soon enough, and so she fired the gardener. She also made Bernie buy a .22 rifle for armadillos, which I always thought that they had a hard shell and couldn't get shot.
Yeah.
But I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't either.
Okay. I just figured, I put a question there, and I never looked it up. He mentioned that she had become very controlling, even more so. And when asked why he didn't quit, Bernie responded with, "Because I'm her only friend. I have to stay because I'm the only one she has." So that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving of 1996, when Bernie went to go see his family, he told his sister Marge was visiting Ohio. The sister that she still spoke to, supposedly. We've never heard about the sister in Ohio, for the most part. So then in Christmas, Bernie said that Marge was still in Ohio, but decorated her house inside and outside for Christmas. He was on the board of Christmas, after all, and had to make everything look great. By spring 97, Bernie was telling everybody that she was bedridden and very sick. Lloyd Tiller, the one that Marge yelled at about adding Bernie to all of the accounts, called to check in on her specifically, and Bernie told him that she was starting to get confused and lose it, maybe Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So he tried to plant seeds in these heads, right?
Yeah.
He told other people that she had a stroke by late spring, and she was in a nursing home outside of Carthage, and didn't want any visitors to come see her. Both Tiller and a fellow widow named Ruth Cockrell, who happened to be a cousin of Marge, both believed that something was going on and something was wrong. Ruth had stated, "I was worried something had happened to her, but I didn't know who to talk to about it. Bernie was so beloved in Carthage that if I suggested he had done anything wrong, I would have been laughed out of town," Ruth had said. In July of 1997, so when first time he made an excuse was in Thanksgiving of 96.
Right.
July of 97, unknown caller called the police and asked for a wellness check on Marge. Due to more pressing matters in their small town of 20 widows, it wasn't checked on until nearly over a month later.
Okay.
When police finally decided to reach out to Bernie, he was on vacation in Vegas, singing at a wedding. Bernie told police that she was in the hospital and didn't want to be contacted.
Okay.
The police looked into it, and no one at the hospital matched any of her descriptions.
Gotcha.
At this point, the police started contacting her family, like her son, who ended up coming out to Carthage, and his oldest daughter, so her granddaughter, and they were going to go start searching her home. One of them noticed the deep freezer was taped shut and found this odd. After cutting the tape and looked inside, they found Marge wrapped in a white sheet underneath a frozen food supply that was already in there. I'm just going to let that sink in.
Yeah.
So, they found Marge. That was about, November to July, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, about 8 months later, 9 months later, in a deep freezer. How does that make you feel?
Not great.
No, yeah. So, with this being Texas in 1987, they took the whole freezer with Marge in it and the frozen food and loaded it all in the back of the truck and took this as evidence. Okay. Which I'm actually quite impressed by. Yeah. Usually they don't give a shit that much. They drove it to Dallas, and I love my notes. I put, they drove to Dallas, and parentheses, I found this fun, parentheses. They powered the freezer with connected gas so it would stay cold. We gotta keep her chilly.
Yeah.
Sorry, rip rod. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why that's funny to me. Immediately, deputies were sent to look for Bernie, who was on his way to take a team of Little Leaguers out to dinner.
Aww.
Because he's still doing his whole
thing.
Bernie seemed surprised that they wanted to talk to him, but he went willingly, and he was quite nervous. After talking with him, he grew increasingly more uncomfortable and finally admitted to shooting Marge November 19th of 96.
God damn.
With the same gun that he used for the armadillos. After cleanup, he went to a production of Guys and Dolls and bought everybody pizza. He went to a play right afterwards. When asked the motive, he just stated that she was very hateful and very possessive.
See, and okay. Like, I'm trying to, like, I know what he did wasn't right. I'm not saying that it was, but I also can understand where he's coming from of, like, he had a lot going on and a lot of pressure and, like, a lot of control. And, like, even though he was still helping a lot of people, it just became a lot.
Yeah.
Which shooting someone's not the answer.
No,
ending the relationship is the answer.
No.
But
yeah, walk away.
Yeah.
I know the money's nice, but walk away. Right. You're okay.
Yeah, but feeling just so trapped in that.
Yeah.
Too.
I can understand that too. And having her scream at you and harp at you all the time, I'm sure that wasn't comforting. Yeah. So, but but he didn't think anything of it. Now we're going to talk about Danny Buck. He was the DA. That's the one that's played by Matthew McConaughey in the movie. He also knew Bernie and liked Bernie, but didn't think that as highly as everybody else did. He saw him as a killer. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I could see that
he wasn't like, this is the best community guy ever.
Right. After the arrest, Carthage, like, the whole town was angry and actually stood behind Bernie instead of, like, her. Even trying to bail him out with the $1.5 million bail at the time. At the local church that he helped with, the pastor prayed every sermon for his release. So this is this is proof that he did it. Like, there's nobody else that could have done it.
Yeah.
And they're still. When the IRS showed up to charge him with stealing over $1 million from Marge, for some reason the sheriff of the town were told that there were videotapes found in Bernie's home that had men all over Carthage on them implying sexuality with these men. So they refused to charge him with that. The IRS charge.
Okay.
Because of this supposed thing that happened.
Gotcha.
Which, was any of this happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was all hearsay. A lot of Bernie's friends hired attorneys for him from East Texas. One named Scrappy Holmes. Oh, that makes me happy. And though attempted a plea deal, it did not go through. Danny Buck, the one that played, believed Marge discovered him dipping into her bank account and her savings, and everything went haywire. So he thinks that that's how this confrontation started. However, from what Bernie said, there wasn't anything unique about that day. He just kept thinking, well, I have to live with her for the rest of my life. And they got into the garage to leave, and he picked up the gun and just shot her. Brought her back into the kitchen, hosed off the garage floor, and then cleaned the blood up.
Which is wild.
I can, here's the thing is I could see either way of those happening.
Yeah, but like hosing the garage down and there being no more evidence of anything happening, like, it's crazy to me.
Well, and like, this was the 90s, so like they didn't know any better.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like.
Yeah.
And no one was coming over.
Yeah.
So who would have seen, but like.
But like just hosing it down, like not even thinking about it. I wouldn't even know where to begin, but I know that like. There are ways to clean up better than that. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds stupid. But you just host it down. But I can see either one of those happening. Yeah. When he was asked why the freezer, he said, the words of a local said, I don't understand why Bernie didn't put her in one of the airplanes and fly her over the Gulf of Mexico. Gulf of Florida. And kick her out. His answer was a very quiet, I wanted to give her a proper burial, Everyone deserves a proper burial.
Like, he still cared for her, and that was his, like, life.
But she was in the fucking freezer! Yeah. That's not a proper burial.
No, but he was just trying to,
I love that they kept it cold. I love that. I think that's one of my favorite
things. I wonder
picks.
how much of it was, like, let's keep the body cold and let's keep the groceries cold.
Do you think they ate the groceries?
I don't know.
Would you?
I wouldn't. But who knows? It's Texas.
After the trial, Bernie was found guilty and given 50 years for killing Marge. He was described as a model inmate and sang in the prison choir and picked up cross-stitching while he was in there.
So, really, he was constantly just living his best life.
Yeah, which I also printed out his testimony in court just because it was really funny. Because, like, literally, he just agrees with everything. So you can go ahead and look at that if you want.
Yeah.
The movie came out in 2011. Jack Black, Matthew McConaughey, and Shirley MacLaine. There we go. See, it says right here. It's described as a dark comedy, but there has been questionable laughs at the expense of the murderer and murdered. Marge was a woman who died at the hands of another human, which is sad, and she deserves the respect as is.
Yeah.
And in this, they kind of made it funny. And though I do appreciate humorous movies, especially based on reality, you know, there's that fine line.
Yeah.
But there's been questions.
This is more of like an episode of Snapped than a comedy movie.
And don't get me wrong, I probably would have laughed at the episode of Snapped too, and I'm so sorry to Marge and Rip Rod, but I'm so sorry. This is just interesting. Like,
yeah. I think it's really interesting too, the way that it was just like a thing that he did, and then he still went on like doing his normal activities and like going in, even in jail, like doing what he would want to do and not even really. I don't know if he felt remorse or guilt or anything, but like just like living a normal life after you casually shoot and kill somebody. And, like,
just keep doing your thing, doing your pilot thing.
Just so removed from that.
And it almost feels like detached, and I think that could have stemmed from his childhood, all that stuff. But I also think
he also didn't seem weird from what you said during his childhood.
No.
Like it wasn't like a whole thing.
No,
so,
and like this all happened like the movie came out in 2011. This happened in '97, so this would have happened like right after OJ. How I've never heard of any of this like blew my mind. Yeah, like this was like all new to me. This is interesting. I don't know why I wrote it this way, but I'm going to read it how I wrote it. On that same note, I deal with a lot of my grief through humor. I relate to humor more. And this movie, made into a drama on Lifetime, I would not have watched it and would not have had any connection to it. But because of the way that it was made, I have a much deeper connection to Marge, the DA, and Bernie. So that's a very interesting thing that I don't remember writing that. But
that is fair, though.
But like I deal with, and I think that's putting a little note in my... I don't fucking remember writing this. I wrote this months ago. But that's interesting that I put that, like, I deal with and that's true, I deal with my stuff through humor, and I think you also do the same. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to watch a movie that's humorous and not a Lifetime movie. Yeah. You know? Yeah. 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 Okay, back to wherever the fuck I was. Okay. 2014, Bernie got a new attorney that saw the movie and said there's something that's not going on here that's not correct. She reached out to Bernie, and they filed a post-conviction writ of habeas corpus, which basically means that you can't illegally confine someone. And they believed, and so many others, that he was coerced into making a confession by the police by being blackmailed by those tapes. If you remember those tapes, they talked about. And that there were sex tapes with married men in town, supposedly. I also have eye roll written down here, so I don't have an eye roll button. No. With this writ, he stated that Marge was abusive and controlling, and which mentally triggered a bad spot in his brain and where he was sexually abused with the child and a family member, which he had never talked about before. Okay. All of this is coming up in this, it was argued that prior to this, he was able to compartmentalize, like you were just saying, like how he just kept living his life, and have a hold on things. But the abusive behavior on Marge continuously caused him to disassociate. And this ended up causing him to lose control. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of what you said, but like... Yeah. I feel like you were meaning more post than this. Right, right, yeah. Bernie was released on bail for a time after a forensic scientist backed it up and he moved in with the filmmaker that made the movie. That's interesting. I forgot about that. When he was released on bail, Rod Jr.'s estranged son stated that the movie portrayed Marge unfairly by only getting his side and believed the movie helped Bernie get released from jail, as opposed to... Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of did. Yeah. Like, everything kind of snowballed after that. Yeah, it did. And then some family members said that it was very accurate, however. Some would say that she was the meanest woman in East Texas. And that was her nephew that said that sometimes I think she was the devil on earth. And she also was not speaking to most of her family. Mm-hmm. But the second trial took place on April 22nd, 2016, and he was also found guilty and given 99 to life. He's eligible for parole in 2029. That's soon. Yeah. So that's coming up. And then So yeah, so that's where Bernie's at. But I also put down some quotes about him because, like, I think that he's so interesting. He was just a very interesting guy. And I feel like that it was just a very sad situation that he ended up in.
Yeah.
But even as such, if you're a fucking bitch, then be a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
But don't pull others down with you. So what'd you think of Bernie?
I don't know, because, like, the whole, like, you know, if you had trauma, you kind of gravitate towards certain things sometimes that might not be the best for you because you feel like that's what you deserve. So, like, I feel bad for him that he, like, stayed and put up with all of this with this lady, but also, like, he really shouldn't have killed her.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know.
My biggest question, I mean, granted, I think this is in Texas. So Texas, each state is different. But why is it one person that kills his wife gets 15 years, and then one person that kills an older lady that's being a cunt, being a bitch, gets 99 to life?
Yeah. That whole thing.
That's using her money to help other people.
Right. Using her money to help other people, wasn't just prospering himself. Took care of his community, gave back, was, like, an active member of everything, to have such an extreme sentence. And then all of the, like...
How the whole community's backing him up.
Right, the whole community's backing him up, and then the whole, like, gay speculation is just, like, a weird little...
Right.
Touch that, like... I let him have his privacy. I don't need to know more, but, like, I don't know.
You know, and here's the thing, too. Like, I feel like this is kind of hitting me all at once. I'm reading this book right now, and... Do not get me wrong, I think these books are fantastic. They're the David Wong books. What the hell did I just read? There's a spider in this book. John dies at the end. They're horror comedy books.
Okay.
Either way, I don't know exactly when the first one was written, and I'm also thinking about this movie because they both they say a lot of things that we wouldn't say today, and these weren't made that long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like, listening to this audiobook, and, like, I'm just shocked that, like, this wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. How
much the language has changed. Yeah. And I think one thing is to say is it's changed quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. But one thing I credit to that is social media, because I was also talking about slang the other day, because, okay, I've got a question for you that's completely unrelated to this episode of the podcast, but, I was talking about new age slang and how quick it changes nowadays because of social media.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, what's shaken was, like, in forever.
It stuck for, like, years.
Yeah,
until,
that was a huge thing. But if you tell somebody, I need you to just define this for me. Okay. When you say, hey, let him cook, what does that mean?
Like, let him simmer on it, let him think.
Okay. So what's funny is that's, like, a very hot term in slang. Literally every person I ask it gives me a different answer.
Really?
Yeah. And mine's also, I think mine's very wrong.
What's yours?
The way I first heard it explained is how I go by it, is, like, let them cook. Like, if somebody's digging themselves a grave and talking shit and, like, making a hole, like, digging a hole.
Oh.
No. Let them cook. That's how I thought it was.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I really don't know how that works.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing. Like, let him do his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love new age slang.
Yeah.
Yeet is still my favorite.
Yeah.
But I don't think
so
it's
old.
used. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years old. 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know.
More than that. It was like a thing when I was in high school.
I don't know, I like yeet. Yeet is a good one. That one was post my time. I liked yeet. I'm trying to think of any, like, good ones from my age, but mine was stupid. Oh, sup.
That's classic. Yeah.
Would you mind going to the store and getting me some sup dog? Or what is it? Up dog. I said it wrong. I'm so stupid. What's up, dog? That was our big thing, yeah. Anyways, before I forget, let me do this. Hold on, where's my button? I hit the wrong ones. It's now time for the Reefer review. Woo! I said it right. Yeah, I almost said Reefer report. So once again, I did Donny Burger by Otherside, which is an indica. Highly recommend. I got it at Philly. I would definitely go there. Once This is an indica. This is like a 30% indica. This stuff knocks my ass out. I had to mix this one a little bit with something because the first time I did it, I was about to fall over. But for an indica, I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 puffs. But, so remember, even though it's 5 out of 5 puffs, it's still only puff of pass.
Oh, that was good.
I know.
The little dramatic flair.
I know. I try to be dramatic. I'm so dramatic. I'm going to try and be more active on Instagram. At stirthepot_pod. You can feel free to do whatever you want. We also have the email, stirthepot.dv@gmail.com if you want to email us. You can find us on anything you listen to things on. Thanks for listening and thanks for coming back. I know you've waited a while for us. Patience is amazing. Stay out of Texas.
And stay dangerous.